Hello, it's the end of November, so it's time for a November wrap up. Thanks for watching my video today. I'm also going to be doing an end of the year / December TBR. I usually don't do TBRs because I'm more of like a mood reader than a planner reader, but I have plans for the end of the year. So let's start with the wrap up. I only read 6 books this month. I didn't read very much at all this month, to be honest. It was the end of school. I had finals. There was just a lot going on. I just didn't have the emotional stability to invest in reading a lot. So anyway, let's get into it. The first book I read is Hula by Lisa Shea. I picked this up at a thrift store. It is very old. This book is super old. It was published in like 1990, I think, so I guess not super old, but you know what I'm saying. It is not a new release. I'd never heard of it before, but I was just looking for small books, and so I just bought myself a bunch of random small books to kind of help me get through stuff. We're following 2 sisters. Their dad has PTSD. Their life isn't great. I don't think they have a lot of money either based on the descriptions in here. Neither of them are ever given a name. It is written in vignettes, which I love, and I know that that's not for everyone, but I didn't know that when I bought this. I didn't know that until I opened it up, but that is one of my favorite styles to read in, and this book is weird. It focuses on really specific moments and specific things that maybe wouldn't be appealing to everyone. And on Goodreads, like, no one has read this, but the ratings are pretty polarizing, so you either love it or hate it. I absolutely loved this book, despite its weirdness. Everything about it was so great. It was not a happy book. It did not have a happy ending. It was kind of depressing to read, but that is my favorite thing to read. So this book was absolutely fantastic. 5 stars. Super quick read. I read it in one sitting, did not put it down one time. I absolutely loved this book. Next up, I read Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. I've read 3 Riley Sager books now, and I have not liked any of them, so I just don't think Riley Sager is for me. I give this book like a 2.5 or maybe a 3. So we're following this girl who is struggling financially right now. She lost her job. There's some other things going wrong in her life. She's looking for a new job, and she gets offered this position to apartment sit for 3 months, and she totally takes it because, you know, they're paying her to do something that she would do for free. So she's super stoked about it. She moves in, but then kind of weird things start to happen. The hotel might be haunted. There's lots of rumors that like it's cursed, and some people like go missing, and it is just wild. I was really not satisfied by the ending. Like, I just didn't like it. It was a little bit too out there for me. This character, the main character, she is so stupid. Like, the whole time I was reading it, I'm like, she is just so dumb. Like, she's so dumb. And I just couldn't handle it. I didn't like it. And that's all I have to say about that. Next up, I read The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay. I have heard some mixed things about this, and that it's not super scary, and I don't like terrifying horror, but I wanted to kind of dabble in the genre a little bit, so I gave it a try, and I didn't love it. It just was kind of boring to me. It started out super promising. I loved the beginning of it. I was super interested. Then it got kind of repetitive and confusing. And I know that some people might appreciate the way that it ended, but I just felt so unsatisfied and upset. I don't know, the whole thing just kind of made me mad. There was some symbolism in there that I did enjoy. Other than that, no, wasn't for me. I give this book like another 2.5 or 3 stars, so wasn't great. It wasn't a great reading month overall. After that, I read The Lucky One by Nicholas Sparks. I'm doing it for a reading blog that will be up someday. I've been doing it for like 2 months now, and it's just so hard for me because like I just don't like romance, but I'm trying so hard. And this book I actually did enjoy. The Lucky One is one of my favorite like romance movies, and so I had some high hopes going in. It definitely took some turns I wasn't expecting. The book is actually quite a bit different from the movie. There's a whole backstory on why it's called the lucky one that you don't get in the movie. My job here is not to compare it to the movie. That's not what we're doing. So if you don't know, the lucky one is about this soldier who comes back from war, and while he was at war, he found this picture of a woman, and he didn't know who it belonged to, so he kept it. He tried to find the owner, but he couldn't, and he is convinced that it is his like lucky charm. And over the years and the tours that he serves, he survives a lot of things that other people don't, and people are like convinced that he has a lucky charm too. So when he comes home, he like makes it his goal to find this woman because he feels like he owes a debt to her. So he goes on this whole journey, and eventually he finds her, and obviously they fall in love because that's how Nicholas Sparks works. But there was kind of a lot more backstory, and I was just really appreciating it. The only things that bothered me about this book were sometimes the conversations were sort of like lame, like for lack of a better word. I don't know. I couldn't imagine myself saying that to someone. The dialogue was just a little cringy at times, but overall I really did enjoy this book. So yeah, I gave this book 4 stars, and let's get on to the next one. Next up, I read Shouting at the Rain by Linda Hunt. This is a middle grade novel, and sometimes when I'm in a reading slump, a middle grade novel just reads really quick and can get you right out of it. Unfortunately, this one did not do it for me. The story was so basic. I just couldn't handle it. So this book is about a girl who her mom left her a long time ago, and her dad is I don't know where. So she lives with her grandma in Cape Cod, and she is growing up. She's not in high school yet, I don't think, but like maybe middle school age, and she's growing up, and she's kind of like wishing her life was different. And so over the summer, she like basically finds herself with a new friend who's kind of different and kind of weird on the outside, but she befriends him, and her regular friends like don't really like him, and she realizes that she's changing and that friends are important and that she really does have a great life. This book tried so hard to include so many metaphors and like meaningful quotes that just came out extremely cheesy to me. And I think for someone younger, like 10, 11, 12, that age range, I think they would really enjoy this book. But for me being an adult, wow, I really disliked this book. I gave it 2 stars just because it was kind of cute, but not for me. I was just hoping for something quick to get through, but it actually took me forever to get through, and I just, that's how I felt about it. So anyway, on to the last book I read this month. Oh boy. I reread The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and I am so glad I did. I've been putting it off because like when I have a 5-star read, I don't really want to reread it because like what if it's not as good the second time? What if I don't love it as much? What if I read it more critically and find things I don't like? But no, this still stands to be my favorite book of all time ever. I absolutely love this book. Just everything about it. I talk about it on my channel all the time, so I'm sorry if you're sick of hearing about it. But I don't know. I just can't even say enough good things. Quick review, just in case you somehow missed what it's about. This book is set in Sweden, and we're following a journalist named Mikael Blomqvist, and then this hacker girl named Elizabeth Salander. And they kind of have their own set of stories, and they eventually mesh together working on this mystery. So Mikael is like recruited by this guy, this really wealthy guy, that wants him to write an autobiography as a cover story and really find out what happened to his niece like 50-some years ago, 40-some years ago, when she went missing one day. And Elizabeth is like a professional investigator, so they sort of come together to figure out what happened to Harriet. Elizabeth has her own story going on the side, and she's dealing with her own things, and Mikael has his own things that he's dealing with, and oh my goodness, you should read it. I love this book. I'm so glad I read it, and this was the last book I read this month. I just finished it a couple days ago. Now on to a super quick TBR for the end of the year, December. The first book I want to get to is The Girl Who Played with Fire. That's the reason I read The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo again was so I could kind of have a refresher and get into this one. I have super high hopes for it, and I hope that my hopes aren't crushed when I read it. I want it to be a 5-star, just like The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, so hopefully it is. I'm gonna get into this as soon as I possibly can, and I can't wait to read it. I don't even know what this one's about. I just bought the whole series after reading The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo because I loved it so much. Next up, I have The Christmas Thief by the Higgins Clark family women. This book is pretty short. I picked it up just because it was a small book, but also because it's Christmas themed, and I don't have any like specifically Christmas themed books, and so I wanted just a quick read to have for during the holidays so I could get into it and just really have my Christmas spirit brought to life. Plus it's a mystery, which is way better than like a Christmas romance in my opinion. So I'm super excited to read this one, and yeah, okay. Next up, I have The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley. I own The Hunting Party and The Guest List. I have not read either one, but I wanted to read this one first because I'm pretty dang sure it's set in winter based on the cover filled with snow. And so this book is about this group of friends, I think, that have a reunion, and one of them is a murderer and one of them dies, and I think you're just trying to figure that out while all of this is going on. So I can't wait to get into this one. I haven't read a thriller in like a month now, so I'm super excited to read this one and let you know what I think. Next up, I have two very, very special books that I can't wait to talk about. I am doing a special video for these, and I am so excited to tell you about them. First up, I have The Kindest Lie by Nancy Johnson. I'm currently reading that right now, if you can see. This was an art copy sent to me. It's not supposed to come out until February 2021. It is following a woman who has kind of a secret in her past, and now she's living a completely different life, but she returns to her hometown to kind of deal with this secret in her past that she realizes she's been putting off for way too long, and she needs some closure about it, and she just needs to find out what happened. The secret is that she had a child when she was a teenager, and that's really not a secret because that is the whole plot drive for the book, and it says that in the synopsis, but I just wanted to kind of catch your attention with it. I am really enjoying this book so far, and it has some great representation. If you are more interested in hearing about this, I strongly suggest you watch my vlog on this book when it comes out in a couple weeks. And my next very special book that is also an ARC is Fairy Godmothers Inc. by Serana de Wilde. This is a romance set between two people who have dated in the past and they now hate each other. They are recruited by their godmothers to promote a wedding destination and get fake married. So, enemies to lover trope, but I don't hate it. I'll be honest, I kind of like it even though I don't like romance. This book is set in a very comedic setting. It's not supposed to be like a heavy whirlwind romance. It's supposed to be more lighthearted and funny, and I have also started reading this one and I'm loving it so far. So again, if you're interested in this, watch that special video I'm gonna make in a couple weeks when I talk about these two arcs in more detail. And the last book I have reading plans for this month is The Longest Ride by Nicholas Sparks. I am doing that vlog, which I mentioned when I talked about The Lucky One. This is the last book that's part of that vlog. Unfortunately, I have like the ugly movie cover book instead of the pretty cover book from the original version. But just in case you don't know, this book is about a bull rider who, you know, that's kind of a dangerous career, and his girlfriend, I don't know if she's already his girlfriend, I can't remember. I haven't even thought about this in a while. But she is kind of concerned about like his life choices and if she can invest in a relationship with him because, you know, his career is really dangerous and he could have a lot of health problems, he could have an accident, he could die, you know, and so I think it's just that conflict. Oh boy, am I nervous to read this. It is quite long. Like 400 pages. Okay, that's not as bad as I thought, but man, I have just been putting this off. It's time to finish that vlog. It's time to read this. So that's the end of this wrap up in TBR. I have quite a few videos I'm going to be making in December. Since I don't have school, I have a bunch of free time, so I can do that. And I am super excited, and I will see you soon.